What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Indie Sooner. It's your boy JP with the man, the myth, the legend. He grinds till 3 a.m. in the morning most nights. The man that you'll find out soon has as many oysters as you can handle.
Well, not anymore. Not anymore.
What up, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, man. It's been a wild day, man. Between going to Tahlequah to get theta sauce, a whole pallet of theta sauce. I'm driving back, and those of you in Oklahoma know how crazy windy it was today. Dude, I got a pallet stacked high above this truck, and I'm driving back. This thing's just, I can feel it trying to push the truck. Oh, it was terrible. And then we got back. Obviously, I had to hit up both signing days today. I had to hit up RSJ, and this morning I hit up J-Rose. So, yeah, man, it's been a wild day. That's why I'm doing it. Those of you that notice, I'm doing it from my office at Cardinal Club.
Yeah.
So coming live. This show is, I'm coming live from the Cardinal Club studios.
Yes, sir.
Sponsored.
Yeah. So my my oyster joke is because Trash told me there's this family in his restaurant that came in, and they in here. They walked in and they told him, give me all your oysters. They didn't ask. They said, can I have all your oysters? I was like, you know how much money you got to have to walk in and say, give me all your oysters. Oysters are they're not cheap.
Yeah, so we just got to shucking. They already had 4 tomahawks ordered. 4 tomahawks. Man, we get 4 tomahawks. We got all these oysters. They got like 6 shrimp cocktails, 8 bisques, and they're just firing it off the hip. I mean, they're like, oh, we'll take 5 of these. For those of you that have seen Caddyshack, it's when Rodney Dangerfield rolls into the pro shop. He's like, oh, I'll take 3 of those, 4 of those, 5 of the naked lady teas, anything. That's how they order. It was stressing me out, but we got it all done. And yeah, exactly, Topher. It was much like Ron Swanson. Bring me all the bacon you have. Okay. No, I'm concerned. You heard I'll take a lot of bacon. I said all the bacon you have.
My word. Well, guys, we got like talked about. Obviously, we're going to talk about signing day. We'll talk about a couple different pieces. We'll hit a little bit on last night. Those of you that were in the OU rumors and news space last night got to just hear gym after gym after gym by Kobie, McKenzie, and obviously Jeremiah Hall popped in there too. And we'll talk a little bit about their podcast.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
I mean, did you listen to their podcast today, Trev?
I listened to it on the way to Tahlequah. They do a great job, man. They do a great job, and it was nice to hear for the first time, basically, from Caleb Williams.
I know,
since his Sports Illustrated days. So that was really cool.
It's great to hear him talk.
It's really cool to, Based Kirby, order theta sauce. Go to my Twitter. It's one of my last posts. There's a link to it, and it's similar to like a barbecue sauce. It's a little bit thinner, a little bit sweeter, a little bit spicier. It's a little more versatile than barbecue sauce. So yeah, it's good stuff. So they do a great job. It was great to hear from Caleb. It was great to hear about his Texas game experience, how, he went in at halftime and how he first found out he was going in and this, that, and the other. I mean, he's a grown-up. There's no doubt about that. I'm going to take this apron off.
I'll go ahead. Hey, y'all, while Trav's doing that, make sure you hit the like button. Please go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe too if you're not already subscribed. Go ahead and share this on Twitter. Make sure we get all these people in here. And then after this tonight, make sure you go to OU Rumors and News and Info space after this directly. Hey, real quick, as I'm saying that, I just wanted to announce that I have now crossed 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. 1,000 subscribers on the channel. I want to thank everybody that's here. Y'all are all part of that. Trav, I've already thanked you off air, but I want to thank you with everybody here, bro. Like, you've been a huge part of that. And thanks just for coming alongside of me. Trav, so like months ago, was like gassing me up, telling me, bro, here's what you can do. He was giving me, just ideas and stuff like that. So, he's been like a big brother to me, and I'm thankful for you, bro. I appreciate you. And so we're on 1K now, and I'm hoping to keep the train rolling and whatnot. Naturally for me, I want to put up more content, especially in the summer when I'm freer, because I'm an AD, so I can only do so much. but these Wednesday nights have been just killer. They've been key. I mean, I those are my nights off basically. I don't have many games scheduled these nights and whatnot. So it's been awesome to be here with y'all and with you, Trav, and everything, and be able to kind of get this thing rolling. So appreciate
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, man. So, obviously, Mr. Monty's in the house. He's
Yes, sir.
asking some questions along with Ron and a couple other people.
Yes.
What I can tell you about the talented athlete from Hayes, Kansas, Canuck,
Mhm.
Brent Venables is like a father figure to him. From what I have been told, he will be at OU eventually. We think that he might sign Friday, maybe tomorrow, something like that. Brent Venables was very clear that he didn't want to take anybody from Clemson. He said his relationship with Dabo Swinney goes much farther than football, much beyond football. I thought that was incredible. I think it's a stark contrast from what we just saw. So that's very very admirable, and I think it's appreciate it, Tat. I think it's important to understand, and I know in the days of instant gratification, everybody kind of throws their hands up in the air and say, "Man, what the heck, man? What do we? Why don't we take those people? It's a cutthroat business, People would do it to us. Why don't we do it to them? We need these 5 stars in this class. We need this, that. I mean, we're going to be fine. The best part about this is that people are decommitting from Clemson simply to go to a school that never recruited them, that they probably never even visited, and they just want to go to Oklahoma to follow Brent. That bodes extremely well for future recruiting classes. And with Jeff Lebby's offense, that I think is going to be off the charts, I think we're going to see some incredible recruiting classes in 2023, 2024, and beyond. So, yeah, I mean, Venable's sons are even staying at Clemson. If that doesn't show you that this guy's a man of his word and a man of integrity, I mean, he's not even taking his own kin with him. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to be in great shape. I couldn't be happier about the hire. It's my boy Tim. What up, Tim?
What up, Tim?
Yeah, we like I said, I'm at work, so we might get some cameos here and there from the staff. So they'll be popping into my office.
Hey, Trav, do you want to talk about your experience today with RSJ and with Jaden Rowe at their signing days?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important that those guys know I'm there for them, and I've been here kind of throughout the recruitment and went to watch them play when I could on Friday nights and all kinds of stuff. So I thought it was important to be there. Crazy part was I was the first one at J Rowe's signing. I mean, it was supposed to be at 7:30. I show up like, I don't know, 7:10, 7:15. I walk into the room. I'm the only one there. There's like a little paper with Jaden Rowe's name on it, and I'm walking around. I'm looking at the field. I'm like, so they start walking in, and then obviously I got OU gear on. So Jaden walks up. We start talking and whatnot, and these people keep taking photos of us. And later the guy comes up and goes, "All right, what's your name?" It was a Tulsa World guy. "What's your name?" I said, I thought he was introducing himself, so I reach out my hand to shake his hand. Well, he pulls out his notepad. Boom, Travis Davidson. He goes, "And what do you do for OU?" I was like, "Nah, I have restaurants here, man." I said, "I'm not I didn't come down as a representative for signing day. I'm just supporting Jaden and stuff like that." So it was really cool to see his dad again. I actually met his dad at the Union BA game when I went to see J Rowe and RSJ play each other. So he was really cool. Got to hang out with them a little bit. Yeah, I went to Union, so it was cool to kind of go back. Yeah, kind of go back and see the stadium renovations. Coach Fred took me down, showed me their new weight room, which is insane. It's a 60-yard weight room. That's 60 yards, dude. It's got turf down the middle. It looks a lot like OU's facility. It's got turf down the middle so they can run their sprints. Time their sprints, and then they've got Clement, and then you've got all weights down one side, like squat racks, all that. You've got all your bench racks and everything on the other side. It was really impressive. So then I went off to the gym, and then got my own work in. Had to come to work, get some orders in, and do all that, and then eventually rolled over to RSJ's, and I went up into Broken Arrow's indoor facility, and we went upstairs, and he had a bunch of people there, man, because they had two guys signing. They had a guy signing with Texas Tech, and then obviously RSJ was signing. So it was cool. I mean, all the news cameras were there. Having that at 2 p.m. was a little easier, I think, for people to get to than 7:30 in the morning. So, but Fred wanted it, wanted it at 7:30 in the morning. So, anyways, it was really cool. I got to talk with all the families and whatnot. And then I had to roll out to Tahlequah to get some theta sauce and start my crazy drive back through the 70-mile-an-hour winds. So,
man, I heard about that.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. But I was trying to keep. I mean, there was so much good content today, from the Spaces to 247 doing their coverage, and obviously Steve Wiltfong kind of broke the news, if you will, to kind of touch on Ron's point. Kind of broke the news of Travis Hunter flipping to Deon Sanders U, basically, to flip to prime time U, to flip into Jackson State. Deon is massive in popularity. He's an energetic guy. He's a guy you sit in the living room. Got to keep in mind, a lot of these people's parents grew up worshiping this guy.
Yeah.
So he's a hell of a recruiter. There's no doubt about it. I do think it was very helpful that Barstool Sports paid him a $1.5 million endorsement deal to go there. I mean, it's one of those things. And also, you got to kind of point the finger at Florida State, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Florida State has been down bad. Marvin Jones Jr., his dad is a Hall of Famer there. I mean, he's one of the best players to ever play at Florida State. His mom wouldn't even let him go there. He's like, no, we're not going to Florida State. They're not going to do anything for us. So, I mean, Orville isn't doing anything. They're not winning. They won, 5 games? It's Deon. And the interesting thing is he's propping up these HBCUs and doing a fantastic job of it. And I don't think he'll ever leave, because you can't prop up HBCUs and preach to these young African-American kids how important it is to your culture, your history, everything like that, to attend an HBCU, and then say, deuces, I'm going to go to take the Florida State job, or I'm going to go take the TCU job, or I'm going to go take any of the other jobs he was kind of rumored with.
Yep.
So, good for him. I mean, I feel like that a lot, like I feel about USC getting Lincoln Riley. I can't be mad at it.
Yeah.
USC, they set out with one goal in mind: get the Pac-12 and get USC relevant again.
Yep.
And people have been talking about USC more this offseason than they ever have before, at least in my memory. So they had to write the big check. They had to, shell out all kinds of demands and all this, that, and the other. I get it. But that's their prerogative, and they set out with a goal in mind, and they did everything they could to achieve that goal. Same thing with Deon Sanders. He did everything he could to steal the show on signing day. And boy, did he. I mean, even the video was fantastic. I mean, all that, it's big. It's big, man. I'm still, and I caught so much flack for this, I'm still not sold on him as a big-time program coach.
Yeah.
I think he's a hell of a recruiter. But I'm not sure that winning at Jackson State is the same as being where he's got more talent than everybody, because he's such a hell of a recruiter.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a situation where he goes to TCU and does that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Simply because I do think there is value in the HBCU angle, where, you can really get people in touch with, hey, this is kind of a lot of your, not cultural obligation. You know what I'm saying? Like it's another, rock on that side of the scale. You know what I mean? So if you're debating between two schools and one's an HBCU, and you can say, hey, you know what, you do this for your culture, you can be a trendsetter, you can do what nobody else has done, and you can commit to this. You know what? Like I said, it's just hats off to him. He did exactly what he set out to do. You can,
and for that kid, it's an opportunity to play for one of the greatest cornerbacks of all time, and he's obviously going to be able to teach him well.
I don't know. So, like, Is Tiger Woods the greatest swing coach? I mean, probably not.
That's
Is
fair. That's fair.
Michael Jordan? I mean, is Michael Jordan like is Peyton Manning the quarterback coach? Like, just because you're the greatest, a lot of what made Deon special, a lot of what made Deon special was his absolute blazing speed. You can't teach his speed. What was he, 4.2, 4.3? I mean, you can't teach that kind of speed. He's one of a kind. I mean, he's absolutely one of a kind. So you can't just say, "Hey, Deon, how should I be like you?" Yeah. Well, half the things that made Deon, you're not going to be able to do. So, can you rely on Deon teaching technique, things like that? Not to say Deon didn't have fantastic technique. None of this is me throwing any shade at Deon Sanders. I want to get that out there very clearly. But nobody else is Deon. Just like if you had Adrian Peterson as running backs coach, he's going to say, well, just do this. Yeah. And they're going to look at you and be like, Adrian, I can't do that. I'm not you.
Yeah, I'm not you.
Because there's never going to be another Adrian, right? Yeah. I mean, Barry Sanders, same way, man. Oh, well, just hit the hole right there. I know you got to get by those three guys, but, man, just take off. Like, there's certain things that these absolutely elite, one-of-a-kind, once-a-generation, Hall of Fame athletes can do that I'm not sure that they can teach because they've just been able to do it. Yeah. So I think that's what's interesting. You don't see, would Roger Federer be the best tennis coach? Would Michael Jordan be the best, basketball coach? It's very hard. It takes different, sets of skills. I mean, Belichick, not a Hall of Fame football player. Saban, not a Hall of Fame football player.
Max.
I mean, the goats of our industry, or the goats of not our industry, the industry.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always translate, and you can't simply say you're a corner. Oh, go be taught by maybe the best cornerback of all time, and you will now become one of the best cornerbacks of all time. It's not. Yes. It's simply not how that works. So,
absolutely, no, that makes a bunch of sense. Yeah, I agree with what you said. I love the way you break that down. Hey, y'all, welcome Jacob into the show. Jacob, how you doing?
He's doing muted is what he's doing right now.
Yeah. Man, the last two times
he got hella mic issues. He'd be on the spaces all ruffled. He's on the spaces all ruffled. He's on the show all not even. It was ridiculous, man.
That's okay. Hey, while Jake is getting his stuff ready, matter of fact, he's back in. Let's see if we can hear him here in just a little bit. One of the things I did want to hit on was Kobie last night in the space. And he'll be back in just a second. But for those of you that didn't get in the OU rumor space last night, Kobie McKenzie, who obviously 4-star linebacker from Lubbock that flipped back to OU from Texas, man, the way he is. He's 18, but he sounds like he's about 30. And he has perspective like that. And he just came in there and was so honest and raw with us, was answering question after question after question. Was just being a real dude, which I appreciate. And so I just wanted to go over kind of maybe for some people that weren't there, maybe what they missed. And guys, if you have questions about it or question about what maybe Kobie talked about last night, go ahead and drop it. And Trav and I, and even Jacob, who was there last night too, we don't mind answering some of those questions. But one thing that stuck out to me right off the bat was he talked about, when Texas came in, they're telling me, hey, I can get this NIL deal, and I can do this. Basically, it was about the money. But he said when BV came in, he was talking to him just about who he sees him being as a player, as a man, just deeper than just, even just playing football. Even though he's a football junkie. And so I think what was cool is at the end of the day, when Brent Venables was talking to him, he said he started crying after he caught a couple players and just crying because he was so like enamored, or his players were so enamored with playing for BB. They're like, bro, I love you so much, coach. Like, you have no idea. I'll play for you at Oklahoma now. And Kobie was so intuitive as a young man. He was like, man, what's going on that these players feel this way about this guy? And I think this is maybe where I need to be. So don't listen to anybody out there that's saying like his dad forced him to do anything. All his dad did was say, hey, give coach a chance. Give coach a chance. and he did, and he made the personal decision himself because he saw through the blood money, whatever you want to call it, right? Some of these other recruits aren't seeing through it, and that it is what it is that they would feel like they need to do that stuff. We're not here to bash anybody, but Kobie was just so forthright on the way he saw it and the way he saw life. And it was dope. So
yeah, I think it was really cool how he detailed every bit of it. I mean, he's like, all right, from 9 to 12, we were watching film, and then we broke for this, and then we went
detailed
in
every bit of it. I mean, he's like, all right,
from
9 to 12.
Am I echoing?
And then we broke for this. How he.
Okay.
Jacob's having some issues, man.
Jacob, we'll see you in 40 minutes in the space.
Yeah.
It's stressing me out. No, it's anyways, I thought it was really cool how he laid out the whole day. He laid out everything they were doing. He talked about watching film. He talked about breaking down games. He talked about really just what he did. And he talked about just being around somebody and what you can gain by being around somebody.
Yeah.
So that's what was cool. He's like, when they all went to dinner, he's like, just by being around somebody, you can just learn a lot about them, how they treat other people, how they speak, that kind of stuff. So I think, I think we're all in very good shape moving forward. It was fun. It was fun chatting with him, man. And I really think he's going to be a leader on this team. He was the first one to commit back just right after his sophomore year. He thought about, reclassifying, and then COVID kind of worked around some things and whatnot. So, no, I'm really excited about him coming on.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was just, I was detailing to him last night, I got so not distraught, but just like discouraged because a lot of my athletes, like, in the social media age, there's a lot of kids right now that are about clout and about just like they think some kids just they think too highly of themselves. They think they're better than they are. And I've been getting on my athletes about that a lot. Like they walk around the school, they carry themselves a certain type of way. And I'm not about that. Like the program I'm trying to institute is like a program of respect. I want you to be humble. Like, yeah, I want you to work hard. I want you to attain your goals, but there's a way to go about it. Like you can have confidence without carrying yourself in a haughty type of way, And so like my athletes were doing that. I just like yesterday I laid into them. Like we had a whole assembly and I was just like, I have good relationships with them, but they were like, yo, like Coach Posey, like what's the deal? I was like, no, like we've talked about this. I've talked to a lot of you personally about it, but it's just a symptom I'm trying to weed out. It's the beginning of my second year here. And so a lot of them aren't used to it and I get it. But I told him, bro, like I'm so thankful to hear your perspective because it's just reminding me like, one, like to be patient because, kids can grow. He's 18, but also just like that there are kids out here that like think like that. And like those are program changing type of kids, not only obviously at the high school level, but even at the collegiate level. Like he will be a program changing type of player, just the way he is, the way he thinks, and him and Brent Venables, I think, are gonna hit it off. They're gonna do some special stuff together just because of the way that they vibe.
I couldn't agree more, and just how much he loves the game. That's contagious. And he wants to learn every position. He wants to be the quarterback of the defense. He wants to do this, that, and the other. And I think that's just going to help him get kind of in tune with the other players on the team. Just naturally, as everybody else's job, and as you try and learn everybody else's job and get better at knowing their job, can have discussions with them. Maybe a D lineman doesn't talk as much with the corners naturally because he's, outside of just hanging out with them. He really doesn't need to know much of what the corners are doing for the most part, not as much as a linebacker does. So, it's exciting. And just talking about how much he loves to hit and how he wants to be physical and how he can't wait to get with Schmitty and all that kind of stuff. I mean, very exciting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. One other thing I wanted to hit on, and then we can get into a couple other things and maybe some questions, and we'll let the questions kind of end us out the last maybe half hour. The transfer portal is now seemingly a legit thing in the Brent Venables era, thank God, because of his press conference we saw today. I remember I was sitting there in my office, getting some stuff done, and I just checked Twitter real quick, and I saw somebody quoted what Brent said, and just like Brent basically said, I think we will look into the transfer portal, and we've already have started to vet some guys that we think could be a fit in our program. So it's just obviously he's not just going to go crazy. He's still going to stick to what he's going to do, and he's going to look for people that are good locker room fits. But he is looking for people, which I think is a good thing.
And that comes as a surprise to, I believe, most of us. Anybody who had any conversations about it in general. I mean, comes as a surprise, a very welcome surprise. One of the things that I like when I hear a guy like Brent Venables say, we're going to find guys that fit our program, fit what we want to do, fit our team. I like that because this guy knows what it takes to build a championship level defense because he's done it multiple times. He's been to 8 national championships. He's won 3 of them. So, I mean, when you look at it and it's like, hey, he can pinpoint exactly, hey, we need another this. I know exactly what we need. He can go get it. He can identify that. So when it comes to, you're not guessing. You're not guessing what you need. You're not, oh, man, it'd be nice to have this. Oh, man, that wasn't the piece we needed. This guy knows what it looks like. He knows what it takes. He can do all that. So, thank you. So,
yeah. You figure it out
for everybody in the chat, Gentry is waiting to sign until February. He wants to spend more time with the coaches, get to know them better. I don't have any reason to believe that he will not vibe with the coaches as that goes. So, anyways,
it looks like we finally got our boy Jacob Major on the show. You finally got it working. What was going on, man?
Dude, I don't know. I have no idea.
For a guy that's on Spaces as often as you are, man, you got some technical issues. We got to get you a producer.
Yeah,
man. So what's weird is my headphones that I use on my phone don't work on my phone on this app. Whenever I'm on this, they only work for phone calls. They don't work on Spaces, and they don't work on anything but phone calls.
It's weird.
It's so weird. And then my laptop, for whatever reason, does not want to connect with any audio device that I own. So, just making all the more difficult stuff even more fun.
Jeez, right? Goodness gracious.
I'm the IT guy, and you would think I'd have this figured out. I have no idea what to do.
I know. That's why I was like, man, I'm shocked he's having trouble. Hey, real quick.
I am too.
OU Rumors and News, remembers at 10 p.m. directly following the JP and Trav show. I'll probably stay back like normal, like 5 minutes after, just to answer any extra questions or anything like that as Trav goes to start it. So just remember that in about half an hour, we're gonna have OU Rumors and News. Go ahead and go over there at that point in time.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was like, man, I got to charge my phone.
Yes, sir. It's been bumping. So you never know. You never know who's gonna pop in, right? Kobie's typically in there, but you got a J Hall in there last night. We've had K9 in there. You never know, right? So you really don't want to miss out. At this point,
Trap House booming. Yes, my laptop is acting like a 2-star right now.
Hey, you need to get that puppy
Dash or Bravo. No, you can't pay me to get a MacBook.
At this point, let's get some questions, man. You guys get some questions going in the chat.
I don't know, man.
The chat kind of give us out the rest of the time.
My MacBook is crispy.
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 Keep it off the grill, honey.
Ain't no problems.
Trap House. That's my boy. I got to get him on here. We got to get you on here, Trap. One time.
One time for the one time. Yeah, everybody who don't know, Austin Reeves hit the game winner in overtime.
I was just trying to look at that.
That OU DNA is just saving the Lakers,
Oh, and he got fouled. They didn't call it.
It's simple stuff. Simple stuff.
Man.
I'll tell you what, I did have a lot of fun at the basketball game on Saturday.
Yeah,
man,
did you?
That was fun. Man, that was fun. I was, those that don't follow me on Twitter, I was sitting courtside, and I was giving the refs hell. I was giving the other players out. Man, it was so much fun. And then I was dapping up
the refs were trash.
Josh Groves. I was dapping him up while they were still on offense. I think they probably got in trouble for that because I asked him if he was going to dunk it, as time wore down, because Tanner had
Oh, he
already
did
done
get fouled.
and he was like, man, coach said no more shots. We can't take any more shots, but big win. And he dapped me up. And right when he did that, that asshole number 4 that plays for Arkansas picked Nolan's pocket with like 20 seconds left for no damn reason. They're down
missed the
20
shot.
something. Yeah,
And missed
down
the
20
shot.
something. And he's still like, come on, man. Then he smokes, just checks one of our guys coming across the middle. Like that dude was bush league, and I was letting him hear it from the sideline. I was letting him hear it from the seats. That was bad.
No, not Travis.
Hey, I do want to shout out Michael Turk. He's coming back. Hang time. Great dude, man. Great dude. And a great punter.
That's huge.
Like legit. Like it really is exciting for him to be coming back. The way he kept us in a lot of games.
Remember when Texas? I mean, when we were only up, Iowa State, we were only up a touchdown.
Yeah.
And he smokes that thing deep, and Trayvon West comes in, pulls him down. I mean, that sealed the game. But I tell you what, and then the Texas punt where he punted it 95 yards. Unfortunately, it was a touchback. He punted from our own 5 to a touchback. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
That's stupid.
That's flipping the field right there. And he's a great dude too. Just a great person too. Which is, you can't have enough of those.
Absolutely.
That's not what I meant to click. Okay. I am not a hockey fan.
Nope.
I'm not necessarily not a hockey fan. I have not really gotten into it. I like all sports, I would like to say, but I don't understand the game of hockey. So I have to understand it.
I love going live.
Soccer on ice. Only people hit each other instead of flop.
I love going live, but I'm just not as into it as maybe I should be. I don't have the time, man.
Yeah.
My schedule's tight. I'm going to throw this guy up there. I think we will compete if Caleb comes back, which I'm leaning that he will come back. I know that's going to be about half the questions on here. I expect Caleb to come back. I'm leaning that way. That's how I'm operating under that assumption. I think, and I've talked about this a little bit on the space, I think that we're going to find a lot of diamonds in the rough on our own roster thanks to Schmitty and thanks to Brent Venables.
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of defenders specifically that didn't feel like they were developed appropriately and didn't feel like they were toughened up appropriately, if you will. So I think we're going to see guys take massive steps forward that we weren't really counting on. I mean, you see Bray Walker came back out of the portal.
I did. That's huge.
That's one of the highest rated offensive linemen we've had.
Yeah,
and he could use a lot of Schmitty in his life. So, it's things like that. I mean, that's just so big for us. And I think we're going to truly see it pay dividends. I expect us to compete for a Big 12 championship per usual. So I would expect 11 wins, 10 or 11 wins. That's what I would expect.
So I answered this question the same, whether it's on the space, whether it's on a Twitter question, whether we're on here. I want to see the roster first. I want to see what our completed roster, or not completed, what our spring roster looks like. That way I have a little bit better idea of what we're going to have in the fall roster. Because just answering that right now is just, okay, we're going based on who we know is here still compared to this is who we have. So
see,
I agree.
Jacob Hedgen, he's like, man, let's wait. I'm like, nah, bro, 10 or 11 wins.
He's going full in. We're going undefeated.
Like,
we're going 12-1. We're going to go to the playoffs.
Hey, I'm aggressive, man.
Yeah.
You got that. You got that Benny Wiley style, man. I'm straight Schmitty when
he's on Schmitty time.
That's right, Schmitty time.
Hey, I just want to see so I did this last year. I said, I want to see a little bit more of what we got coming back, but we should be the Big 12 champions, and it kind of blew up in my face. So I'm going to take a little bit more cautious approach this year.
No, it did. We should have won the Big 12. I mean, you couldn't have suspected that we had a coach. Coaching would have put out the door.
I mean,
what does that have to do with the roster?
I mean, you're right, but I mean, at the end of the day, we didn't win the Big 12, right?
And also,
I mean, no.
Yes,
really,
we
also-
all know it's because Lincoln Riley didn't want to be there. So I just want to see what the roster looks like.
Also,
I know what the
when you-
coaches are going to do. I know what the development's going to look like because we've already seen it. I mean, we've seen what Brent does with that. We've seen what Bill Bedenbaugh does when he has a strength and conditioning coach who actually cares. And I mean, Cale Gundy's going to be Cale Gundy, and DeMarco Murray just looks like he's only getting better at this position as running backs coach. Yet to be seen on Jeff Lebby, but from the production that we saw out of Matt Corral this year, I mean, that dude can develop people. So I don't question the development, and the schedule is easy enough. We should easily have 10 wins next year. I just want to see what our roster looks like. I want to see what our safety depth looks like.
Hedges.
I have been screaming for months that our guard depth next year is awful. I want to see what that looks like because I mean, if we have no depth at offensive guard, we're not going to be able to run the football.
Ah, man,
So
we'll make it happen with Bedenbaugh finally getting his bodies back.
Yeah.
I just want to see what it looks like. But I agree, the floor should be 10 wins.
I agree. I think I'm at about 10 to 11 wins. I think could we see a renaissance season potentially with some development because you have talent on the roster. Yes, and
we're still young.
I think that we have like enough guard play. Now, listen, if like I don't think Marquise is going anywhere, and I don't know if they would move Tyrese back into guard or if they're just going to leave Chris Murray there. I don't know, but I think there's enough people on the roster that our guard they'll be okay. I could see them moving Rame over. Potentially, you never know, but I hear you, Jacob. I'm in between you two. I can agree with Jacob on the roster piece, but at the same time, I think we still have a good enough roster and good enough coaching that we should reasonably have at least 10 wins and expect to be in the Big 12.
Look at JP playing the AD role.
Exactly, man. Y'all,
I do it every day, so.
Man, I don't know if there's a podcast. I know there's Between the Ferns, but Between the Hedges should be you two with all y'all hedging up here. Between the Hedges with JP and Jacob. Ridiculous.
Hey, we can make it happen, Bo.
I wasn't hedging. I was aggressive too. I said 11 wins.
He just wasn't near aggressive as you. Like on the NCAA games, you can go and you can set your aggressiveness all the way. Yeah, you're all the way.
Man. I'm all in, man. Let's get it.
98% sure we don't stay till 2025, but if we do, will the new Big 12 teams be in? No, I don't think. Will they add them?
Yes, 2023. They're coming in 2023.
No matter what.
Yes.
So then, okay. Question: Would they split into?
We'll be gone in 2023.
I would assume so. If we were, what would they do? Are we split into divisions for that?
We'll be in the North-South division again. Would be my assumption.
Okay.
I don't think we make it to 2023. I think 2022 is the last year you see OU and Texas compete in the Big 12.
We're too broke to not make it to.
Well, yeah, that's because they're stupid. They believe a stupid LSU fan that doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
That guy's an idiot.
Yeah. Yes. Speaking of Texas, they out here.
Congratulations for a top 5 class
and whatnot. But hey, Kyle Flood's just a great recruiter. Apparently, he's not buying.
Yeah, it's easy to recruit when you're offering people $50,000 a year.
I mean, that guy's already been on sanctions once, so he got kicked out of the SEC because of sanctions. So here's my thing. I keep bringing it up. If you have to pay somebody to come, then you don't think you can convince them to come with your program, with your coaches, things like that. You have to make up for it because and that's why they're just offering blind. They have to. So if you ever have to pay somebody to date you,
yeah, it's not real.
Imagine that. You got to pay somebody to date you.
It's not real.
What, you can't land them on your own? You don't have the redeeming qualities?
Yeah.
I love what Parker's been saying about it. You can throw as much money as you want at players, but that's not going to fix your culture.
Well, and it actually, like as I've said, we've said on the space, it makes it worse. You do is preach with Austin, such a fun city to be in. Oh, hey, by the way, you're 18. Austin's an awesome party town. I love Austin to party. Austin's a cool party town. Here's $50,000 cash. Here's $100,000. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like You are exacerbating
Here, we can ask our
the
resident.
cultural
We can
issue.
ask our resident athletic director. Is that a good idea?
Absolutely not. I mean, no, you don't even have to. You don't have to be an AD to know that's not a good idea. Like giving a teenager that amount of money, and it's like, and again, we've talked about it. Like, and the NIL is great for a lot of reasons, but the way that's being used, especially in that type of culture, like, are you telling me you're gonna have people out? I mean, your assistant coach is out here getting sued for his stripper monkey biting people, for heaven's sake. So, like, you think they're gonna be out here regulating what the kids are doing? No, they're not. They don't do that anyway. So yeah, no, it's dumb, and that's why we're just gonna move on, because that whole conversation is just stupid. What do you guys think is our starting secondary next season?
I think it is Woody Washington on one side, DJ Graham on the other side, Delarian Turner-Yell, and Key Lawrence.
I have a hard time arguing that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that.
Then I think we're going to have a hybrid actual nickel, and that might be of all the people in our class to actually probably start, or just kind of be in one of those kind of roles, because Brent Venables does like running a 3-3-5 in which he brings an edge rusher. So kind of that hybrid 4-2-5 like we've seen, but he plays 5 or 6 defensive backs. I get when we go to that being kind of that hybrid guy that kind of roams that middle of the field and just makes plays. But outside of that, I mean, that's the only change I would tell you in that starting secondary. But outside of that, I mean, Travis said it head on. I mean, I can't think of a different lineup to use. Although I could see Latrell McCutcheon really taking a really good growth year this year and challenge for starting spot.
I think he would challenge DJ. I think Woody.
Yeah.
I think Woody.
I'd agree with that.
I think Woody's a first or second round pick after this year. I mean, I really think he's that good.
Oh my God. Over. Goal.
Oh my God. My God.
Hey, that's why they got the number 1 recruiting class per 24/7, right?
Man, that monkey gonna be out there returning kicks. Trav, you have any news on Theo? Any? I know I've heard something great.
Man, I keep hearing conflicting reports. I hear that now he's leaning towards staying.
Yeah.
He is not. I mean, he is not
still in the transfer
to South
portal,
Carolina like a lot of people think. He has not gone to South Carolina. It wouldn't shock me if he did, but it'd be kind of odd timing now that kind of the rest of the 2019 class has found their spot. But I don't know. According to Dean, he's 6'5", so he grew 2 inches. Maybe he thinks he's better off back at OU after he hit that random,
he finally hit his growth spurt.
Late 2 inches that he added on.
Do we think Cordell finally takes that next step next season? I mean, I felt like he was supposed to this season. He just got hurt.
Yeah, I mean,
if he's healthy, he can.
We never
saw
him.
He can.
He better, because man, we got some dogs coming up, man. It's RSJ is the real deal. Jaden Rose, the real deal.
Yep.
Depending on what they want to run, Gentry Williams comes in the class. I mean, that guy's Olympic speed. He's got. I mean, he's a high 4-star top player in the state for a reason. Yeah. So, and the way Brent's about to start recruiting defense, you better lock in your spot.
Better quickly. Show up.
You better lock in your spot early. How much do you expect Caleb Williams to develop this next year?
So I was kind of critical of him, and I took a lot of heat on Twitter for it. I really don't care. But my biggest thing about him was his indecision. And come to find out, we know why he was a little bit indecisive. So I think what we're going to see is more of in the run game, he's going to be a little bit more decisive in the short pass game, in my opinion. Those two things take a big step, and probably what we're going to see his biggest growth just from him personally working on this, not working with Jeff. I think we're going to see him throw the deep ball a little bit better, be a little bit more accurate on those deep passes.
I also think there's going to be a dedicated kind of expectation from Levy. I think in that conversation, I think the Williams family is having conversations with him about we need him developed to, you know, be able to do this at the line. We need him developed to be able to do this, make this throw, do that. I think you're going to see more of a focused effort on him from Lebby, because I think Lebby knows, hey, I got to recruit this guy. If he stays, I need to prove him and his family right, that they made the right decision. So I think you'll see a bit more stress on his development than maybe Lincoln had.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, no, I agree completely, and I think like you guys have said, you hit it on the head or the nail of the head. Lebby's going to continue to recruit him, and I think that Caleb is the type of guy that works. Right? If you heard anything in the podcast today, you know that he's always worked his butt off. I mean, he took 11 classes as a high school senior / college freshman this spring. So like, he's not the type of cat that's just going to be out here doing whatever. Like, he's going to work at it. And I think once he has a coach that matches that effort, which we know Lincoln didn't this year, then he's just going to continue to get better.
And I think I see some comments in the chat. Here's the thing. The Marcus Major stuff. Marcus has to take care of his grades.
Marcus has to take care of Marcus first.
He has to remain eligible. I know a lot of people want to complain about, and I'm not talking about just people complaining in the chat, people complaining on Twitter. Oh, Lincoln Riley should have used him more. He was ineligible for most. What was he supposed to do? And then he came back, finally got some action once he got back in the swing of things and fumbled the ball. And then the next week he had the flu. So it's not like we had this guy that was inexplicably on the bench all year and we just weren't using him just to not use him. The dude was ineligible because he didn't take care of business. If he takes care of business,
that student part of his title.
Yeah, if he takes care of business, then I absolutely do think that he's going to have a great year. But he's got to take care of business because, man, Sawchuck's fantastic. He's really, really good. Javante Barnes, I 100% think that he's going to end up a Sooner. He's very, very good. Mm-hmm. We're still waiting to find out if Kennedy's going to come back. I personally think that he's got a lot to gain by coming back. I'm not sure he has a lot to lose by coming back. So I think the starting job is still his next year if he wants it. And it's hard to pass up, man. You watch that Lebby offense just for a little bit. It's hard to come back to that and say, you know what? I don't want to be the starting running back at Oklahoma, you know, when he's not going to the first round. You know, he's not going to the second round. So I hope Kennedy does not come back. Yeah, I hope Kennedy comes back. Kennedy's not that good. No.
Oh, no. Who said that?
Kennedy's awesome.
Chad Weiland in the chat, man. You ain't supposed to be drinking this early.
Listen to me.
Facts.
Listen to me. I have a video.
He doesn't look like he's running well. He doesn't look like he's running hard. He doesn't look like he's running fast. But when he's second to all time in yards per carry behind Billy Sims and Greg Pruitt, or tied with Billy Sims and behind Greg Pruitt.
Tied with Billy Sims and behind Greg Pruitt.
Yeah, tied with Billy Sims for all time.
Behind arguably
at 6.9
not the greatest offensive lines either.
At 6.9 yards per carry. He demolishes Texas this year. Absolutely demolishes them. And then it's just his vision, his balance, things like that. He doesn't need the breakaway speed. He's faster than he looks, and he's shiftier than he looks. But I agree, it does not look like he's doing much. But all that dude does is pick up first downs. All that dude does is rush for 1,000 yards a season. He could become the only player in Oklahoma history to rush for 1,000 yards in 4 straight seasons, and he could become the leading rusher all time. So, yeah, that guy is that good.
So to keep going on this, so Kennedy Brooks he's number 10 currently on the OU all-time career rush yards with 3,178 yards. In that, only one person has the same or better yards per carry, and that's Billy Sims at number 2 at 4,118. It's when you're averaging 6.9 yards a carry. Average. That's your average across 3 seasons of football, one of which you had to share the football with a guy who never gave you the football on read options when he should have. Another, when you were sharing the ball with the guy who would give you the ball all the time, Kyler Murray, in case you guys are wondering, still ran for 1,000 yards in both of those. Oh, and came back this year behind probably, you could argue, the worst offensive line Oklahoma has had since Lincoln Riley showed up.
Yep.
I would probably say it was one of our worst run blocking lines since 2013. Like, they were bad. They weren't great. But listen, when you're doing what he's doing, to say he's bad, you're not paying attention. You're just looking at the fact that he looks slow and you think he's slow when the guy is actually patient. There's a difference between being fast and being patient, and he's patient.
Yep.
He doesn't need to turn the burners on.
He's a patient
guy. How could you say so? That could be more about pass attack rather than the fact Lincoln Riley ran the ball more than he passed it, and he averaged 6.9 yards per carry.
Yep.
On like 400 touches.
458 to be exact.
That's what I understand. 458 touches, 6.9 yards. That is not just we're air raid and everybody, they're playing everybody deep and they're only rushing 2 and the guy eats up yardage. This guy is, again, run more than they pass. Lincoln always ran more than he passed, and he threw out of run sets. And then the sample size of being 458 rushes at 6.9 yards a carry, I just don't think you can chop it up to excuses of, oh, well, it must have been the pass game. Well, it must have been garbage yards. It must have been this, that, the other. No, it must have been the fact that he is putting up historic numbers at a school that has historic running backs.
Yeah, he's a historic running back at a historic running back university. I don't know what you guys want more out of this kid. Should he catch a little bit better out of the backfield? I'll agree with you on that.
Shit, I hope he's not listening. Y'all gonna run him out of town.
If you watch his running style, like you guys are saying, he's patient, but like when he makes his cuts and is decisive, you see the bounce. Like it's clear.
Look at that the game winning play at Texas.
Yeah,
he outran everybody.
Yeah.
He almost outran some of his blockers.
Yeah.
But he's slow? Get out of here. That's stupid. Yeah. Since you're not paying attention to the film and you're just going by what your boss at work tells you, that's dumb.
Oh, Jacob's getting personal.
I don't care. I'm salty tonight, fellas.
I know you only got on 20 minutes because you've been messing with your damn knife and stuff. You're like your appearance on here we could put in a GIF.
I wanted to put this one up here. Do you think Ewers gives us trouble next year or do you think he's a product of hype?
I don't think he starts.
I don't think he starts either.
Who do you think starts?
It depends on who's there. So I actually think the Malik kid can beat him out, and I think Hudson Card can beat him out.
I think Hudson or Casey is your starter next year. I think Malik sucks.
You think he hyped up?
Well, here's the thing. One of my buddies that is an Ohio State guy, he knows Heartline, and he was talking about Ewers earlier, and he was like, Ewers will run that program at the ground. Heartline said he was a lazy piece of shit, and this was before he left to go to Texas. That's what happens when you give a 12-year-old $1 million.
Yeah,
facts.
And hands the ball off 3 times. Yeah. What the hell you think is going to happen?
And he's gonna expect.
He's gonna cash in again.
Yeah, he's gonna expect.
Tate Martell
at Texas. I'm telling you.
Tate Martell died for this.
Yes, he did.
He transferred from place to place and was ridiculed. And he's at UNLV now.
Yep.
Quinn's gonna transfer 3 times and he's gonna retire with $5 million in the bank.
Yep.
I double dog dare him to start Quinn Ewers against Brent Venables next year.
I don't think he plays next year. I'm that confident in my conviction that he doesn't start. I don't even think he plays.
Hey, Jacob,
I would love for him to play
tonight.
I would love for him to play behind their offensive line is going to snap the ball and then check their mobile banking app as our Brett Venables defensive line runs right past him and smokes him.
And these annoying Texas fans that are just on Twitter acting like acting like a rich, spoiled kid. Just there's poor people around. Look at all the money we have. I'm like, okay, like what has that done?
You're
for
literally
you?
you're literally just making it worse. Your money's
what I'm
making it
saying.
worse. That's what's crazy to me is like you're literally making your culture worse.
Yeah, it's nuts. With Smitty, will we see improved strength from the offensive line, and with Levy, better schemes in the run game? I imagine we will return maybe to a higher per carry average, better play action game. Would y'all agree?
Yeah. I've watched enough Levy offense the last couple of weeks. I can say that.
Jake,
I'm still gonna go watch some more because I want to see what he
tell
did.
us about what you've seen. Because I've watched.
So I primarily only watched this year of their offense. The Texas A&M game and the Arkansas game were the two I really kind of landed on. So I mean, the Texas A&M game, the first half, it looked exactly like Oklahoma versus Georgia in the Rose Bowl. I mean, he did anything he called, it worked. And the second half is where I kind of really saw he was a little bit more. A&M made adjustments, and he didn't quite make the adjustments, but A&M's offense was so bad he kind of get away with it.
Yeah.
So I think what we're going to see more out of him is that it's going to be a little bit more balanced. And with a guy like Caleb Williams, it gives you a little bit more options to be able to use Caleb Williams in the run game. And I think he's going to have a better offensive line than what he had to deal with at Ole Miss. Sorry if there's Ole Miss fans listening in. Your offensive line was terrible. But Matt Corral's that good that he carried them to 10 wins with Jeff calling the plays. I mean, he's creative. Everything with their offense is actually statistically better than Lincoln Riley the last 2 years. You can't find a stat that's better. Maybe pass yards, efficiency, something like that. So Jeff Levy's been doing this on the same scale as Lincoln Riley in a defensive conference. In a better defensive conference. Let me say it that way.
I got 2 minutes left before I start the space. I just wanted to make I wanted to make a point on Texas having their run of offensive linemen. So when you go by I'm going to read some of the national rankings of their offensive linemen that they signed. 354th in the country, 461st in the country, 574th in the country. Those are three guys that they're in 273rd. I mean, these are guys that they're expecting to somehow build the Great Wall in Austin. And that's why these guys are just jumping on. They're jumping on the offer. They're going to catch their check. But
what were those numbers that you're reading, Chad?
Their national ranking.
Oh, okay.
So, and I saw somebody put up the tweet and somebody shared it with me in the DMs. They said Texas seems like they're killing it, right? First of all, they have 27 commits, and their average recruit ranking is tied for the lowest average recruit ranking that Tom Herman ever had. Yep. So they're talking about how great this class is, this, that, and the other. Literally, it's the worst quality that Herman ever had while he was at Texas. So it's wild. Yep. But I'm going to get off. It's 10 p.m. Thank you all so much. Appreciate you guys participating in the chat.
Yeah, go head over.
I got to hop over to the space because I hate sleep, I guess. So
we all do at this point, homie.
Yeah, I'll see you guys. Thanks again.
See you over there in a bit.
Yep, I'll see you guys later. Appreciate it.
We'll see you. Jake, feel free to stay on if you want, or you can head out.
We can answer a couple more questions. So as far as the Jeff Webby stuff, just kind of get back on that. So you're not going to see nearly the utilization out of the H-back and all that, but there wasn't really a need to do that because when they were in their third and short situations, a lot of it was quarterback run or just straight up run out of those sets. He's aggressive. He does like to go for it on fourth down a bunch. Yes, absolutely. Hit that like button. So, I mean, we're going to see a completely different offense as far as aggressiveness. He is an aggressive coordinator. He goes for the throat, and he goes for the throat early. And then he likes to press people down on the run game But it's aggressive run game. It's not like he's going, okay, we're going to run up the middle, run up the middle, run up the middle punt. It's not like that. He's still aggressive when they have big leads. I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch some UCF tape, just kind of see what I see in there. But I mean, he's a good offensive coordinator, guys. He is. You're going to love what you see out of him.
I agree. Where do you see Oklahoma's defense ranking nationally in the coming years with a defensive-minded coach now? I mean, I see us being, perennially, especially once he gets this thing rolling next 2 to 3 years, eventually a perennial top 25 defense. I mean, I think next year, I don't think we'll be worse, honestly, than we are this year. I think we'd be top 50 at worst, in my opinion. But I think it will only get better because, again, you have Brent Venables, who's a proven guy, proven coach, and he's done it against the best of the best before.
And
obviously, the ACC is not necessary. What?
And thankfully, Alex Grinch actually left him a cupboard full of great talent.
Yes. Alex Grinch didn't pull nobody. He didn't say, come with me.
That's right. But I kind of agree. I mean, his worst defense at Clemson was his first year. You could argue his worst defense at Oklahoma was his first year, but that 04 defense was stacked still. Yeah. I think it was just him kind of figuring out how to be a coordinator by himself a lot during that year, but I don't see a problem. I don't see a problem sitting here saying, well, I think our defense can be top 30. I think it's a true possibility.
Well, let's break it down. So defensive line stars are probably going to be Ethan Downs, Jalen Redmond, Isaiah Coe, and I don't know who you're going to put at that other defensive.
Reggie Grimes. And
depending on what they want to do with Clayton Smith, I don't know. Obviously, I know he's more.
I think he's going to be a special package.
But yeah, it'll be a special package. I think Brent will find a way to use that cat. Trust me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Linebackers are probably going to be Danny and
Deshaun.
You think Danny and Deshaun will be the linebackers together?
I do, and I think they'll move Agwebu to the outside. So I think the outside linebackers are going to be Stutzman because he runs a 4-3 base.
He runs a 4-3.
So I think it's going to be Stutzman and Agwebu for your outside linebackers, and I think Deshaun White locks up the middle. Okay. And then obviously what we said for our predictions for the secondary guys, so Woody and Graham on the edges, and then Key and DTY.
That's still a lot of talent, man. That's a lot of talent.
And a lot of young talent too. Out of that, it's DTY and Agwebu and Deshaun White are really your old guys on that on that team, and heck, even Jalen Redmond. So I mean, you've got one on each level that you can look at for the experience portion.
If we're being honest, I know the Big 12 was initially known for all these high flying offenses, but it's really evolved. It's not as spread out as it used to be. So some of them are, but you look at Kansas State, you look at Iowa State. You look at sometimes what West Virginia has done a little bit as well, and even Baylor, they're not they do a lot of 12 personnel, they do a lot of 13 personnel stuff now, and so that at sometimes
it's kind of evolving back to that run raid, not the air raid, that run raid that we like to run,
and it hurt us sometimes because we were small, and so I think it can be to our advantage the 4-3 base having those backers out there, and I think having the best linebackers coach probably in all of college football is only going to help.
Right.
It's only going to help the linebackers that we have, because I was very critical of our linebackers. I said before.
I was too. I said they were going to be our worst unit coming into the year.
Our weakest unit. I said it was our weakest unit back in the spring. Right?
I did the same. We can agree on that.
It was. And but I think they have potential. They certainly have potential. Even same Whittier,
absolutely,
has immense potential. Kobie McKenzie is going to be right.
He's going to rotate in. He's going to play a bunch.
That's what I'm saying. So I think it looks.
Here we go. I found my stats on Brent Venables because I'm the nerd that does that. So according to ESPN's defensive efficiency since 2005, his 3 worst defenses. The 2012 defense at Clemson, that first year he was there, ranked 54th. What year is this? This is, I believe, 2007, 12th, and 2005, 10th. Those are his 3 worst.
Crazy.
When we look at S&P Plus, it's basically the same thing, almost the same thing. 47th in 2012, 19 in 2013, and then 2005 at 17. The dude can coach. The dude knows how to do what he needs to do with the talent around him. It might take him a year, but guess what? There's a bunch of talent on this roster, and you can convince me this is a top 25 defense easily. I think he is. I just don't think we've been able to see it because he's been hurt. I mean, when you look at the number one trait that every coach looks at, it's availability, and he hasn't had it.
Yeah.
If you're not available, you're not going to play. I mean, that's just how it works.
As much as people didn't like, so let's talk about 2020. As much as people I know saw Bookie as a headache, I think Bookie did a lot of good at the nickel spot. Enough that word like Jeremiah Goodell as a redshirt freshman was not going to usurp him. So like that, he was a redshirt freshman at that point in time. This year, we were hearing rave reviews about him in spring ball, even into fall camp, and then he got hurt. That's why he wasn't on the field. So it's not that he's not talented. I think that he has opportunities, hopefully, if he stays healthy. But that's the main key. No, I don't think so. Personally, I think their defensive coordinator.
That made their team this year.
Huh? Yeah,
that made their team this year. I watched them live. Yeah. It was literally their defense. Their offense is still ass. Yeah. But sorry,
it is. You're absolutely right. It's terrible. I mean, the fact that we allowed
that's not going to change.
No, the fact that we allowed them to do what they did, I mean, it's nuts. I can't believe that we allowed them to do that. Assuming Oklahoma goes to the SEC in 2023, do you see the SEC changing for the possibility Alabama will always run the table in the SEC?
So I talked to enough SEC people. They all pretty much agree that Alabama gets what they want. I mean, Alabama, they had a chance to fix the scheduling a couple of years ago. Alabama said no. So it's going to kind of force Alabama to play teams they don't want to play. The last time they played Florida and Georgia in the same year in the regular season was 1991, before I was born in that year. So it's not like they're playing the best of the best every week. Now, I will say the SEC West this year, freaking good.
Yeah.
But in the SEC East, I mean, it's still a really good division over there with a lot of really good teams, despite what we saw Alabama do to Georgia. Call that an anomaly, because Georgia gave them momentum and Alabama took it and ran away with it. Like, Georgia couldn't do anything right after that. But what we're going to see is a bit more balance, because I think they are going to run with the pod system. You're going to see more balance. You're going to see more spread out of the schedule, and you're going to see every team within the lifespan of a college career. So I think they're still the premier team in the league. They're still going to be the premier team in the league when we get over there. And it runs through Alabama. I mean, it runs through Tuscaloosa until somebody else proves other, just kind of like in the Big 12. Until somebody else proves otherwise, it runs through Norman.
Yeah. Even on the off year that, I mean, Alabama didn't make the SEC championship in 2019. So
right.
Like, it's not like they have to make it every year for that to still be true. Even though Oklahoma didn't make it this year, it's still true that the Big 12 runs through Norman.
They didn't win the SEC in 2017.
Yeah. We'll say
they didn't even play for the SEC title in 2017. They won the national championship.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's just the way it is in the SEC. There's a reason it's the best conference in college football.
Yeah.
I have no idea at this point.
I'm fine with Chip. I would love to see Chip get a shot.
So let me pull it up. So I pulled up all the guys in the playoffs that are coaching, because apparently some of the staff is in the playoffs, according to Brent Venables. Either fell off or they're still coaching and he just doesn't want to announce it. So the guy I want, his name's Perry Eleno. He's the Cincinnati cornerbacks coach. Yeah. And if you haven't seen Cincinnati produce cornerbacks, it's because you're not paying attention. Go look at some of the draft stuff that Cincinnati's been putting out the last couple of years under him. It's dude can develop and the dude can freaking teach cornerback. He's doing that with 3-star guys, making them NFL talent. So what do you think he's going to do with Oklahoma talent?
Facts.
Everybody's been calling for the Jamil Adeg coach out of Georgia. Sure, I guess. Name doesn't really excite me. The Clink Scale guy out of Michigan, kind of the same thing. Doesn't really excite me, but it works. He recruits. Chip Viney, I don't have a problem with him. If the players love him, then I'm down for it. But it's going to come down to recruiting, and it doesn't even sound like he's coaching the game. So that would actually be Will Johnson who's coaching the game for the defensive backs. So it's just going to be, I mean, whoever Brent wants. Whoever Brent brings in, that's who I want for cornerbacks coach. And same thing with defensive line coach. Whoever it may be, because it's starting to sound like it's not Todd Bates with the position upgrade, the position that he took with Clemson the other day. So whoever he brings in, I'm going to be okay with it.
I need to say this to you. You are going to laugh. Just be prepared. Okay? So on Twitter, people are talking about Dabo and him not liking the NIL. And so they got a picture of him in a huddle with his players. And is quoting him, acting like he's about to say this. And he said, y'all worry about NIL. Meanwhile, my Lord and Savior Jesus, his name and his image was made in God's likeness. I'm weak.
You can totally hear him saying it too. That's the funny part about that.
I know. But listen, some of y'all look, me and Jake, we Christians, okay? Some of y'all probably not Bible heads on here, and that's okay. But if you was, you would know that that's not like. I'm sorry. I'll get to theological in here. Technically, we was all made in God's image and likeness because him and the Holy Spirit and Jesus said that together in Genesis. Said, let us go and make man in our image, in our likeness. So we're all made, right? We all have the image of God, right? It's not just Jesus, but we're supposed to be like him. Anyways, y'all didn't come to hear a Sunday sermon, but I'm
here for it.
I just want to give y'all the knowledge tonight. But anyways, yeah, man, that killed me.
That's hilarious.
I was dead. Let me see some of these other questions. Hey, we're gonna answer questions for a couple more minutes, and then y'all get off of here. Head to OU rumors and news with the boys. I'll probably be in there for like 30 seconds because I'm going to bed. How do you see the wide receiver depth playing out next season? Seems like we are going to have crazy depth there.
Well, I kind of agree. A lot of it depends on what Theo's going to do. If Theo stays, he's going to be a starter out there. I think he was covering the X I think he had the X position. But I'd have to go look and see what Ole Miss did for their depth chart stuff because I haven't really thought about depth chart stuff yet. I usually do that around March. But I mean, yeah, they're going to be deep. It's going to be. I haven't paid attention to what Jeff Lebby did for his rotation because it kind of seemed like Dennis Simmons, Cale Gundy, and Lincoln Riley rotated a bunch of wide receivers this year. So it was kind of weird because I mean we all remember CD we're going to bring somebody else in. No, go sit back down. I'm going to play. So it's going to be one of those deals. I think we're going to have pretty good depth there. Shouldn't have a problem at wide receiver. I mean, Cale Gundy's coaching it. I'm not going to be worried about it.
Wide receiver will never be a problem for Oklahoma. Yes. Did we possibly see some of the best wide receivers we probably all say CD Lamb is probably the best wide receiver in Oklahoma history. I think a lot of people would say that at this point. Did that come under Riley? Yes. Mm-hmm. Did Hollywood come under Riley? Yes, he did. Yep. Right. But you're leaving out names like Sterling Shepard, like Kenny Stills, like D.D. Westbrook, who I mean technically came under
Mark
Riley,
Clayton.
But Mark Clayton, Joaquin Iglesias,
Malcolm Kelly,
Ryan freaking Broyles. Okay, let's not forget that name. That was a man who was all-time NCAA receptions leader at one point. Okay, so it's this
Bolitnikoff winner. Ryan Broyles.
Jermaine Gresham, right? Like even tight ends, like that. We will always have receivers at Oklahoma. Jalen Sanders. I go on and on. People that have made big impacts at the wide receiver position for Oklahoma. Okay, we always Sterling Shepard,
and they're always in pairs.
Yeah, yep. So we'll be fine. We'll be fine, especially with
not worried about it.
We will be.
I'm not worried about the offensive side of the ball. Caleb Williams comes back, which I'm 70-30 on, and I'm starting to lean a little bit more 80-20 on. He comes back. I'll be the least amount of concerned about the offense I think I've been since 2017.
Yeah.
Coming into a year. I was a little concerned in 2018, but that's because I didn't know Marquise Brown, Hollywood, Grant Calcaterra, that offensive line, and Kyler Murray were going to go ham.
Facts. I want to answer this real quick. No, because obviously we wouldn't know, and I just as well as Jake, just as well as Travis, like we probably had some blinders on, right? Because Lincoln's our coach and we're loyal people. People that are a part of this program are loyal. And so did we say a lot of the time, like, yeah, there's some issues? Yes, but we weren't gonna go full blasting mode. Like, we got sunshine pumpers, okay?
I told people on my Twitter account, if you want to fire Lincoln Riley, let me know so I can block you.
Right. No, I mean,
like straight up.
And nobody's gonna that's still dumb. Like he never should have been fired. Like that's still dumb. He's still a very good football coach. Okay. Like, but yes, he is. So nobody's rejecting Link. Like we're saying his character. Like, are we saying that Levy's offense is pretty much just as good as his statistically? Yes. Would we have probably 5 weeks ago would we have argued that, well, Riley's dealing with a bad offensive line? Probably yes too. But that's the blinders, right? Now we're taking off okay, we're not so loyal anymore. Let's actually look at it objectively. Levy has had, just as good offenses, if not better, in a better defensive conference. So like that, the fans that are saying that Lincoln is a bad coach and he's terrible and all that, those are the ones that are like, they're kind of going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They're mad. He's still a very good coach. But if you can now take your blind off and see, like, can he still be a good offensive coach while also simultaneously saying, like, did he maybe get figured out in Big 12, right? Like, are there other offensive coaches that are just as good? Yeah, because, like, I mean, how many times are we sitting here seeing Alabama torch people, Ohio State and Ryan Day torch people, Clemson would torch people? Like, you don't need an offensive guru to be good at offense.
Nope.
Right? We can say that. But we just were so enamored with Lincoln because he was and does do a lot of things very well. Right. And so he was our coach. He was our guy. So of course we were going to do that. That's what we do. Just like we'll ride for Brent Venables. It's just what we do. So that's my take on it.
You're not wrong. I mean, he's a great coach. He's a great offensive coach. I mean, it's 5 weeks ago. If you would have told me how he left, how he was planning on leaving, I'd have laughed at you. I said, there's no way that man's going to do that. No way. No way that he refuses to talk to his players.
Yeah, no way.
Because he wants to leave. No,
we was on
no
Twitter
way.
saying that. We was on Twitter saying that. We was on Twitter defending the man. I got called out old freezing Tage because I'm over here like he just built a house, which he did. He's built his whole recruiting program on saying we're a family. And that's not who he is. That's not who his character has been, which that was true. So, like, what else could we point to? That's what we had to go off of. That's why everybody's mad, because it made no sense the way it happened. If you would have told me when I was there in Oklahoma that this was happening, I would have called up Jake, I would have called up Tattoo, I would have called up Travis, and we would have gone and got his smokers back, and we probably would have lit his house off. No, I'm playing. We wouldn't have done all that. We would have got his smokers back.
Hey, I know a couple people that take you up on that offer.
but for real, like that's what I'm trying to explain to people. Like that everything that we defended Lincoln for on Twitter at the time was true. Like that was the way. Like even recruits were saying the reason we're coming to Oklahoma, the staff is honest. They said that. They said the staff won't. They're not going to give us a runaround. They're honest with us, and so like that was widespread. Everybody knew that. So then, why would you think he would do something like that? That's what I'm saying. That's why everybody's mad, because it was so against the character that he had shown to that point.
Yep. And it's kind of the same. I think it's worse than Kevin Durant, honestly, because the time I think it is. And people, and I get, we're still scoring lovers, but I can at least look at Kevin Durant now and go, okay, it's been long enough. I don't like you, but it's not, I want to throw rocks at your head anymore. With Lincoln Riley, I want to throw rocks at his head.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and the fact that he even came on and did a recruiting video that was pretty much the same as Oklahoma's, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about the guy. He left Oklahoma, and then Oklahoma's still on his mind. And the worst part about him in this move is he keeps lying to us. Yeah. And if he would just come out and say, you know what, I just wanted the money. Okay, I'm fine with that answer. But this whole, I wanted a better opportunity for my daughters. Oh, I never had contact with USC, but my agent did until Saturday night or Sunday morning. Sorry. And then it turned to Saturday night, and then it turned to Friday. So you can't even keep your lies straight. So nah, man, nah. Hard pass. And what's funny is parents see that too. So I don't think he's going to have the recruiting success he thinks he's going to have initially.
Yeah, I agree.
My take on that.
Yeah, I agree. Here's the thing. I'm going to answer this because I've been seeing this. Listen. The reason that here's why. Okay, as an offensive, like if Lincoln was just an OC, like if you're going to compare Levy and Lincoln as just OCs, then maybe I could give Lincoln the edge, because I feel like when Lincoln was just OC, he was at his pinnacle. But being a head coach on top of calling plays, I think it has relegated Lincoln Riley to being more not pedestrian, because he's still really good, but worse than maybe he could be if that was his main focus, in my opinion. So
I'll share the tweet again on my account. So Luby Dupe, or however you say your name, go to my account wherever the thing is, whenever it goes away, at Sooners _ Big 12C. Go on my account. I'll share it. So it's one of my most recent tweets. But I want you to tell me which offense you would take. And it's the last 2 years of data.
Yeah.
And it's Jeff Lebby versus Lincoln Riley.
And so Jeff Lebby, like what we're saying is Jeff Lebby is not, even if you want to say Lincoln Riley at his best may be better than Jeff Lebby is not like so much worse. Like Jeff Lebby has been proven. He's proven in his time at Baylor. Obviously, nobody wants to talk about that, but it's true. It's proven in his time at UCF, proven in his time at Ole Miss, right? Like he's done in multiple places. Dylan Gabriel, Matt Corral. And so Lincoln's not the only one that can coach a good offense, is what we're saying. And you don't need the Lincoln Riley-led offense to win a national championship, because the Lincoln Riley-led offense has never won a national championship, but others have. Okay, so that is what we're saying. Obviously, Lincoln helped bring us 6 straight Big 12 titles, which is why he's a great coach. And I don't think anybody who's not saying that is just butthurt, and they can't get over themselves at this point. But again,
and a big old goose egg in the playoffs with all them offenses too.
Correct. So I will take a Brent Venables led defense, which has won 3 national championships, okay, and has been a part of 8 national championships, with a Levy led offense that has been top 5 the last 2 years while playing in the SEC. That's why if you look nationwide, people are like, yo, like this hire is dangerous. These hires are dangerous. People are saying that because it's Brent Venables with Jeff Lebby. And Levy's good enough, even if you don't want to say he's on Riley's level, he's good enough that when you mix him with Brent Venables, it can be a very dangerous concoction.
Yep.
That's what we're saying.
That's all. I mean, when I'm looking at this right now, and I forgot which team is which, by the way. I could go into it and figure it out fairly quickly, but just kind of looking at it, I don't remember which team's which. They're almost identical.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're putting up basically the same statistics for SP Plus.
Are you talking about like? I mean,
Stats. Stats.
Huh?
Statistics. Advanced statistics.
But my question for him is like, are you saying if Jeff Lebby wasn't coaching at OU in the same time that we wouldn't have won 6 titles? Like that's why, because I think what he's saying is you can take Jeff Lebby's stats, you can take Lincoln Riley's titles, but you can also say the fact that Jeff Lebby was in the SEC against Ole Miss against his like
the truth
SEC
said best under that next comment.
Bama, LSU, A&M, like all those cats, and he's at Ole Miss. He's not gonna win a conference title at Ole Miss, bro.
Here he answered it. He goes, "Would you rather have great stats and no conference titles, or conference titles and not great stats?" Well, considering we've always the last 6 have been great stats and conference titles,
that's
we didn't have great stats and we didn't win.
I mean, even this year they weren't great, but they were good, and we didn't make conference title because Lincoln Riley had his head up his butt. But I don't think I don't think you understand what we're saying. All we're saying is that Lebby is going to be able to provide the same sort of statistics that will lock us into being able to be the type of program that wins Big 12, specifically the next couple of years, conference championships with a better defense than we've had in 10 years.
Yep. I mean, I don't really understand the argument here because we just didn't win the Big 12 with not great stats with Lincoln Riley as our head coach and offensive coordinator and offensive play caller. Let me rephrase that.
Correct.
So I don't really understand the argument here, but
yes, correct. We get killed in the playoffs because why? No defense, right? And Lincoln sometimes, just we weren't physical enough.
Yep.
That was part of it too.
Yep. So why the committee hire is probably the most important hire out of all of this.
Correct.
As far as the on-field production of people.
Yeah. And that at the end of the day, that's what we're saying is because I agree with you a little bit what you're saying, Mobby Baby One. That was your name. We do need to be a little bit more physical than we have been. And I think that's why Schmitty's here. We have the size, we have the talent. It's not that we need to go get bigger guys. We have big enough guys here. I mean, Bray Walker's a walking mountain of a man. Daryl Simpson is a walking mountain of a man. They just haven't been used because they're probably not in the shape that they should be to be on the offensive line and to actually impact and move people the way that they need to.
For people wondering, Bray Walker is 6'7", 320 pounds.
That's listed. What I'm saying. Yeah. So you saying we don't have the size, but he's 6'7", 321. We do have the size. Are you talking about defense or are you talking about offense? Because all of our offensive linemen are 300 pounds plus. Are you talking about defense? Is that what you mean? That's why I'm trying to figure out. Because if you're talking about offense, offensive line is fine. If you're talking about the defensive line, I can see that, especially for the SEC. We do need some big boys in the middle. I get that. That's fine.
Defense. He's saying defense. Okay. So the only current person that is technically either a recruit that we have signed or is on current roster that is over 300 pounds for defensive line or defensive end is Alton Tarber, a signing at 305.
That will change, though. I mean, you have cats like Isaiah Coe, you have cats like Jalen Redmond, you have cats like Jordan Kelly. I'm trying to think who else is at the defensive tackle position that's there right now. Kevin Gilliam would be the guy that has the most to go, and he could even go.
Isaiah Coe's at 292. He's our actual highest on roster.
Right. I'm saying they can easily get to 300.
You said Kevin Gilliam. He's at 254.
Yeah,
for the website.
He would have the farthest to go. That they may move him to D end because I don't know if he's going to be able to gain 50. If they want a 300 kind of guy there, he's not going to be able to gain 50 pounds of weight like that. I mean, because he's probably got to be 35 to 40 good weight, and you could probably add 10 to bad weight and be okay. But you also have Josh Ellison, I think, that would probably be there. So listen, they can get up to 300. There's a couple guys that will get up to 300. And so that will be fine, and I think that will do a lot for us.
Ellison, he is 283.
Yeah. So again, that'll work in Breventable scheme. He'll get people that are going to be like that, and they're going to eat up the middle as well. And he'll have nasty guys on defensive ends, which he already has.
So we have two offensive linemen: Felix Finley, redshirt senior, and Marcus Hicks, redshirt sophomore. Felix Finley is 294. Marcus Hicks is 285. We have two players under 300 pounds on the offensive line.
Marcus Hicks is in the process of transitioning from defensive line. So, he will probably get there eventually.
He can get there next year.
Yeah.
285, he can get there. Not worried.
Yeah. So, all right, one more question, and then we're going to head out of here. I think a good one. What do you think of signing day? I think it's just that's the wrong one. What do you think of signing day, just in general? I think Brent Venables, the job he did. I don't know if people understand what the way Lincoln left. I know some people on here y'all need I know Luby Doo, whatever his name was earlier. I saw him saying y'all act like Lincoln has a personal vendetta against OU. You need to let this, it's college football, it happens. And look, am I saying Lincoln has a personal vendetta? I don't think that that's true necessarily, but here's what is true. He left like a choice.
He did what the Colts did. He left overnight.
Yeah.
He did what the Colts did.
He left overnight. Okay. He barely gave his athletes the time of day. Okay, and if you want to say that's college football, then that's fine, but it's not right. It's not
that's
right.
Not college football.
It's not going. It's not going to do you.
Brian Kelly gave his players more time than freaking Lincoln Riley did.
More time, right?
And he even gave them a heads up notice this was coming.
That's what I'm saying. Lincoln never did any of that, and he's trying to take recruits, and he's trying to bring people with him, right? It left all of us. It left everything that Oklahoma was trying to do. It flooded us out that. It's not right. That's what he did. Nobody Brian Kelly didn't do that. Nobody else did that. Dan Lanning's not doing that at Oregon. So don't sit over and act like Oklahoma fans are just being petty and
However, we are petty.
We are petty. Don't get me wrong, but don't act like we're just over here like Colin Cowherd act over here you guys are just being ridiculous. I'm no, it's not that he left. Because everybody's it's college football. It's not that he left. It's the way
That's how he left.
And it's based on, and I've said this so many times, it's based off of the fact that, how he left, but also the fact that he left how he did when at the time Bob Stoops gave him his opportunity. And he gave him the opportunity to be what he was and what he is. And you're telling me he had decency to tell Bob Stoops or Joe C. or President Haraz. He didn't have the decency to tell them, and not the players either. So, we're allowed to be upset about that because that's not okay. It's messed up, right? And so that's why everybody's mad. It's not because he left. If he left, will we still be salty? Yeah. Just like Notre Dame fans are Brian Kelly, even though they probably would rather have Marcus Freeman anyway. But at least Brian Kelly gave them an opportunity. Acted like he cared about the Cats. I know there's nothing you can say. I've heard my friends say all the time, oh, well, what could he say? Whatever he's going to say, people are going to be mad about. Because the same thing happened with Brian Kelly. Even though he handled it with as much class as he could, as far as having 11 minutes with the kids, they were still mad and people were still mad at him. It was going to be the same for Lincoln, but I mean, at least you could say that. Now Lincoln's being affected a little bit by it. People don't what cat is going to want to go play for a guy like that? That's not going to be real with you, even though that's what he said he was. You know what I mean?
He didn't even call the recruits. They were calling Travis and asking him.
I know. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. I'm not, and that's what me and Trav are trying to say. we're like, bro, like we're not just like these random fans that are so detached and are just making things up. Like we know this. We know this. He didn't do this. Like my sister's the players. The players are telling him he stayed in there for a minute and a half and walked out and said that he wasn't even gonna say anything, Jacob. Like I
know.
I didn't know if you heard this either, but like this was the first time I heard it. My sister asking the players, they said that they were in there for a bowl meeting and he didn't even bring it up. And they looked at Twitter and that's how they found out. And then he started to address it.
I didn't know it was the bowl meeting, but they said it was a meeting and they never ran it. And meetings never went. Like people were never late to meetings.
That's what
and then they looked at their phones.
That's what I'm saying. It was already happening. And then he wanted to address it.
So after the fact. After coaches had to yell at him to tell him to go talk to your guys.
Yes.
Jeremiah Hall described it verbatim. Coaches came in behind Lincoln, mad with like how people are mad and their lips are out. Like you could tell they were hot. It was just like, okay, yeah, that's what sealed it for us when Bob Stoops walked in and then Joe Castiglione walked in. Like Lincoln didn't have to say anything. Like they all knew. And I mean, again, it's not that he left. You want to make more money? Fine. Go make more money. That would have been my response. Okay, you have a fan here in Oklahoma of USC. You want to make more money? Cool, no problem. And same thing with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant left for more money. I don't blame him for that. It's the fact that he waited till the literal last day of free agency so Oklahoma couldn't do anything to counteract that move. It's the same thing with Lincoln Riley. He almost destroyed Oklahoma for at least 5 years.
Yeah.
Like he almost set Oklahoma back legitimate 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's the not talking to the players. It's the it's the lying to our face about the timeline. It's the blatant stealing of ideas that he did at Oklahoma and not being original at the #1 university in the world for film production. Like I don't like if you're a USC fan listening in, I hope you guys do well. You guys deserve it. You guys should be on cloud 9, loving every second of the fact that you have Lincoln Riley. You absolutely should love it. Your team should absolutely love it. The program itself. I don't wish anything bad for USC. I don't wish anything bad for the players. I don't wish anything bad for the program or the athletic people or the people in the administrative. I wish bad for Lincoln Riley there. If he can go 5-7 for the remainder of his time there, I'll be happy. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry it has to be USC, but it's not USC that I'm mad at. I'm mad at Lincoln Riley because he was a coward in how he left, not being a man, not being real about what he was doing.
Yeah.
And then choking up in his introductory press conference about leaving Oklahoma, and it was so fake. Like, that's what I wanted to. I watched it to that point, and then I turned it off because it's just like, nah, this dude's fake. And people see that, and I don't think, and whoever his publicist is, whoever his PR guy is, he needs to fire that dude. Because I don't think a coach has ever come out of this looking as bad as Lincoln Riley has.
And that's the thing. Like it's crazy the way that this and it keeps reeling Oklahoma fans, and it's like the more and more we find out, and like you think we're over it, and then the whole Zach Heffley stuff happens yesterday or today, excuse me.
We should have asked Travis about that.
We should have. I'll probably bring it up next week, or he'll probably bring it up in space. But like that whole thing, like it just continues to encapsulate. And I don't want to say that it's personal. I think he really did enjoy Oklahoma. I think he enjoyed his time here. I think that he just got listen. Okay, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real.
Sure.
I know we're a little bit past time. Whatever. I'm just gonna be real about it. Okay. And I know. Listen. I know that the rumor out there that's being that is being peddled. I'm not saying that it's true. Hear me. I'm not saying it's true. But if you sit and you listen and you think about it, okay, and I'm talking about the rumor of an affair, okay, let's just be real. If you sit and you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Okay, here's why. If it's true that if it's true that Mrs. Riley, that Caitlin was like, yo, you need to go or I'm gone, right? I can see the way everything worked out. I can see why he made that type of decision, because we're all looking at this like, time out. This makes no sense. Why is he leaving Oklahoma?
Why is he leaving a 10-2 program for a 4-8?
He is lit like he's gonna get everything he wants. He has it set up the next 2 years. The next 2 years, he has it set up to be number 1, number 2 program. So listen, hear me. I'm not trying to peddle this. I'm not trying to say it's true, because I don't believe it is. However, it's either that he's so callous and cowardly, which can still be true, that he left because he just didn't want to compete and because he wanted to, quote unquote, go try something new. And everybody wants to say, oh, it's the money, it's all this stuff. Maybe that's true too, but I'm saying, listen, that also could be crazy enough to be true, to be like, that's why he like why else would you leave? Why else would you leave? You know what I mean? Besides the money. If it was the money, fine. But what other reason could you have? And to handle it the way that you did. That is what I'm saying. Again,
I've kind of camped in the Travis Davidson thinking of it. He was scared of the legacy.
Yeah.
And he wanted to make his own legacy. He was scared of the legacy of following Bob Stoops. And so if that's the case, I mean, that's still scared competition. I mean, I'm replacing a dude at my job who got fired. I mean, I want to do better than him. I want to make them go, oh, well, we don't even remember the guy before Jacob.
Yeah.
I mean, we all want to be like that, right? Like it goes to even thinking about your time at your work. Yeah. It's when you think about it, it's if a guy retires before you at the job you're at and he was fan-freaking-tastic at his job, you're going to want to take that mantle of, okay, this guy was a legend at doing what he did, fill in the blank, whatever it is. I need to be better than that. If we're looking at this at a perspective that we live in right now, right? So you get promoted to this job and you now have basically full control of this job to a point. You still have a boss that you have to report to, still a boss that you have to, get purchase order agreements and all that kind of stuff. So if there's a dude that you're replacing who's really was amazing at his job, yeah, there's going to be an expectation of minimum of legendary status, right? So now you have to go above and beyond. And if you don't want to take that above and beyond, are you really that hard of a worker?
Yeah.
No, you're not. Yeah. You're afraid of doing better than that guy, and now you have to deal with all the stuff that he dealt with. And if you don't, you're not good enough. And that's what we're looking at with Lincoln Riley right now. He was afraid of legacy, and he wanted to build his own legacy on a team that was 4-8 and has 11 transfers since he showed up. 11 kids in the transfer portal show up and has 6 commits in the 2022 class. 6.
Listen. I'm not, Brian, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not using any names, okay? Regardless if it was a person you thought was a specific name or there's other rumors about other people elsewhere that's not part of the university, okay? I'm not using names. That's not what I'm here to do. What I'm saying is
think about that option.
The way it transpired, okay? Either he's just a complete coward, which is 100% completely, probably, could possibly, absolutely true.
I think he is.
Right. Or either way you could say he is. Or why, how can you treat the people that gave you that opportunity like that? What would make you do that? That's what I'm saying. It's either he's literally lied to everybody, which is, again, that probably is it. It's either he did that or he was so pressed into a corner about something that he had to get out of Dodge because that's what he did. He got out of Dodge real quick. He left in the middle of the night, early in the morning.
Literally in the middle of the night.
So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay. And that's the last I'm going to say about it. Again, I'm not here to do any of that, whatever, to spread any of that hoopla. I'm just saying it's either he's a complete, that, like we said, coward, whatever else, or there's something else. There's a reason that he did it the way he did it, because you can get paid all the money in the world. You can say you want opportunities for your girls. That doesn't mean you leave the way you did. You don't have to.
And again, that's what we're upset about. We're not upset that he left.
Yeah.
Go make your money. Go advance your career however you think you need to do it. If you think USC is the best place you can, quote unquote, grow a better legacy,
fine.
Okay, fine, whatever.
Please.
I disagree, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what that would be. But it's the leaving and not talking to your players. It's the leaving and not talking to the people that gave you this opportunity. It's the leaving and being forced.
Yep.
Being forced to talk to your players. That's what irks me about this. That's what has me upset. That's what has me still upset about this. That's what's going to have me continue to mock USC in the recruiting stuff and what they do all of next year.
Yeah.
You won't find a more critical statistician than me on USC next year. Period. Point blank. You won't find one. You won't find one. I will be amazingly critical of what they do, and then I won't care after that because it's not worth my time.
I know I said one more question, but I think it's a good thing to end on. Let's end on a positive note. But I think that Caleb is staying at OU. He said that he's not going to announce anything until the 29th. You can say you can be concerned because he hasn't come out and said 100% I'm staying. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, he's allowed to be patient. If anybody's allowed to be patient, it's that man, because he got recruited here by Lincoln. And then Lincoln left after 1 year.
And didn't really even do anything for him over the year.
Right. So if anybody's allowed to be patient, he doesn't owe us $8. Okay. So he said the 29th he's going to announce. I think it's personally positive. Could you say it's part of character? Yes. But I think it's personally positive that he's still here, that he's still engaged as he is, that he's in conversations with coaches. He's giving them an ear. He's going to be playing in the bowl game. I think that is all.
That alone right there.
He's giving us every opportunity to show him why he should be at Oklahoma. And we have to believe that we're going to seal the deal. He's not being closed-minded. He's being open-minded, which is what we want, right? He's allowed to still be able to say, I still need to think about it, but he's being open-minded about it, which is great.
It's the same thing Gentry Williams is doing, only he's a high school recruit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great position to be in.
The same thing.
All you got to do, you got to sway him a little bit again. Like he's already a little sort of Oklahoma because he's been here. His parents love the area. So, like, you just got to sway him. Hey, you can be this here. We can get you to be that, first-round draft pick that you came here to be. We can still get you there.
Which he can easily show, which Jeff Levy can easily show. The tape that you turn on for him is you turn on the 2020 Matt Corral tape, and you look at the indecision with him throwing the football, specifically against Arkansas, where he threw 6 interceptions, by the way. You can show that tape. You can say, look at how indecisive he was in this game. And then you can turn on 2021 and you can say, you can see the progression here in decisiveness.
Yeah.
And then you can turn on the tape for this year for Caleb Williams, specifically Baylor, and you can tell him, hey, look at these plays. Here's what I would tell you as a quarterback's coach coming in. These are the things that I see that we need to work on. And if we can work on these things and get them right, not only will you be a first-round pick, you'll be the first-round pick. You will be the guy everybody goes after because Caleb Williams is that dude. Bryce Young is that dude. I don't think C.J. Stroud's that dude. Is he good? Yes.
But with this, here's why. I'm not.
He does.
You can't say that. Like quarterbacks need to be coached. That's why he came. That's why he's going to college.
You moved off it.
That's why he's going to college, right? That's why he came to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
right? So, like, I understand what you're saying because he's good enough that he could go anywhere, but he needs to be coached. That's why
Yeah.
people like quarterbacks that were really good in college, they fell in the NFL because they don't get coached. He needs coaching. That's not like you can't just go anywhere and say you're going to be a first round pick. That's why you don't just go anywhere to spend your college.
Yeah.
It matters where you go. It matters who is what system you are in that's going to make you look good, who's tutoring you. So no, that's not true.
So it's like I said earlier, because the question was asked earlier, what do you think Caleb can grow on if he stays at Oklahoma? It's going to be the decisiveness when he decides to run. It's going to be the decisiveness in the short pass game. And then it's going to be something I think he's personally going to work on over the offseason is going to be the downfield accuracy, downfield passing accuracy. And if you just clean up those three things right there, he's a Heisman winner easily.
Brian,
like straight up, I don't think people really understand that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with his throwing motion. His throwing motion is fine.
It's one of the cleanest ones we've seen.
Like
I mean, I would say the cleanest throwing motion we've ever seen was Spencer Rattler, and he didn't even have the cleanest footwork. I think footwork is something he needs to work on, and I think that's something you can develop from year 2 to year 3. I think looking at year 2, you've got to tell him, hey, your run game needs work. Here's how we can make you more decisive in hitting a hole. Because every time you saw him run after the bye week, he didn't know if he should run through that hole or not. He didn't realize what he needed to do in the run game, and he's a running quarterback. So that that can go back and you can say it's coaching, which I think we can all say it was Lincoln Riley at that point. But I think his footwork is fine. It's some of the best footwork I've ever seen out of a true freshman in a power program.
Yeah.
I think he just has some indecision issues. Like I stated on Twitter when y'all decided to come at me, when I said I have a problem with Caleb Williams and I don't mind airing it out. You can have a problem with a really good player. You can.
You said no, I know, but you set it up like a hot take. You should have had more context. You weren't saying that he was a problem about everything. You were just saying that he has things he needs to work on, which I think if you had come at it like that,
people also came in with hateful intentions instead of, oh, hey, let's have a conversation about it.
I think they just
knowing not this account, but it was on my main account, and people were like, well, it was just like, guys, do you know this account? Like, I talk on this one. I have conversation. It's not this account where I call people idiots all the time. But it's those things. It's the indecision portion of it. And once he fixes that, once he gets over that hoop of it, of being a true freshman, and he actually takes that growth step, which I think he can easily do in Jeff Lebby and having Schmitty under him, I think it's going to be fine.
I agree.
I think it's absolutely going to be fine. I think he's going to fit beautifully in Jeff Lebby's system.
Yeah. I slightly disagree with this. But
it was the same offense. It was the exact same playbook.
Well, I know, but I honestly wish he looked a little bit more like Jalen Hurts in the fact that Jalen would take off. I wish that Caleb did that more, and he should have.
Like I said,
he actually threw the ball. He was more aggressive than Jalen was because he has a better arm and can throw better. But he probably wasn't reading the field as well either. But if he honestly, if he would have ran like Jalen Hurts, we might have made it to the Big 12 championship no matter what league he did. But is what it is. Okay, look, man, we just sat on here. It's been a good time. It's been a blast. It's always fun, bro. But we've always been on here 2 hours. I gotta go to bed. I gotta get to work in the morning. Thankfully,
hey, real talk before we get off. How's the baby doing?
She's doing well. We're actually.
How's Mama doing?
Ultrasound tomorrow, huh?
Nice. How's Mama doing?
Yeah, Mama's doing good. She's hanging in there. So we're going for another ultrasound tomorrow. She'll be 24 weeks on Friday. So little baby girl's hanging in there and everything.
How's her room coming along?
We've gotten some of the stuff that we got set up, but we haven't gotten the crib or anything like that set up yet.
Okay.
So we're probably gonna start working on that probably in January.
Gotcha. So, I'm happy for you, man. Hashtag girl dad.
Hashtag girl dad. Yep, on the way. April 8th. But all right, y'all. Hey, we appreciate you. Jake, I didn't say this earlier. You weren't here. I said it earlier, but I'm over 1,000 subscribers on the channel now.
Congrats.
And so thank you. But I want to thank you too, bro. Like you and Trav are a big piece of that. Like you guys coming on here and helping, to make this the JP and Trav show really done well, and you guys just make it fun. And that's why people come out here. So thank you, bro, for being willing to come out here and being willing to talk, and appreciate you, man.
Yeah, not a problem, homie.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate y'all. Stay tuned for more content as well. And obviously we'll always be back here every Wednesday. JP and Trav show. Be looking for Jacob. He's gonna make an appearance every once in a while. Pop in here, make sure his mic is working and everything.
Yeah, I'll get that fixed this week. I've got my stuff from my high school calling my high school games, so maybe I can get that to work and figure that out.
Yeah. But hey, we're Jacob's probably gonna go over the OU rumors and news.
Yep.
I'm taking myself to bed. I gotta get up.
Deuces, bro.
So
Sweet dreams are made of these.
Deuces. Boomer.
Sooner.